Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Teachable Moments with Dr. Mekia Troy. We're going to hear from Dr. Troy in just a minute, but first, we want to give a shout out to our podcast partners, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, the Florida Coaches Coalition, the Global Community of Women in High School Sports, and We Coach. You've heard me say many times, these are four great organizations. You should really add them to your network. And now, don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to give our sponsors a shout out. These are all companies that I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. Go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to showcase your school records or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell your school's incredible history and share your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank our friends at Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for things like scheduling, student-athlete eligibility and clearance, coaches, paperwork, and a whole lot more. Go to homecampus.com. See all the things that they can do for you and your program. That's homecampus.com. We also want to thank Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. Your students are on social media, and if you're not, you're missing a tremendous opportunity to celebrate their accomplishments and promote your teams. Mention this podcast, you'll get a nice discount. Talk to the folks at Gipper.com. Start creating world-class content today. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule a live web demo, see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Their products not only generate income for your department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to say thank you to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com. Their team is going to get you set up to sell tickets online. It's digital ticketing that offers more. Hometownticketing.com. We also want to thank Snap Mobile. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their entire suite of platforms designed to help you do your job better. If you're looking for a fundraising platform, stop right here. SnapRaise is hands down the best one available, but there's so much more. You can find it all at snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that allowed them to coach our kids at the highest level. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that allows you to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. ADs already hear back from the complainers, the 2% that want to gripe about everything. Athletic Surveys connects you with the complainers, but they also connect you with the 98% that supports your program. That's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them create that custom survey for you. athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Teachable Moments on the Educational AD Podcast. For new listeners, Dr. Mekia Troy, she's a certified Master Athletic Administrator at Creekside High School up in Georgia. Every week, she shares a nugget of wisdom with us. She's got a tremendous background in athletics. She's also a member of the NIAAA's National Teaching Faculty, does a great job at her school. So, Dr. Troy, welcome back for episode number 7. And what do you have for our listeners today on Teachable Moment?
All right. Thanks so much, Jake. Appreciate it. Well, we work in athletics, so we know what competition looks like. We know what that feels like. We know what it's like to try to be the winner. We know what it's like to press to try to become first. And that's kind of what it feels like when we as athletic administrators have to deal with competing priorities. So that'll be our focus a little bit for today. It's one thing when you have a lot of work to get done, but it's another when it feels like everything is having to be done at the same time, or the deadlines are very close together or stacked on top of each other. I know some might use the Eisenhower matrix, which I learned about from another athletic administrator, and maybe other methods of kind of dividing these tasks up into categories of do this now, do this later, delegate this, delete that. It all works, but what about when everything feels like a do? I mean, everything's supposed to be done right now. And then in our profession, you might have the knock on the door that adds something else to the plate that you weren't planning on, or the phone call that comes, and that's a new urgent matter that comes along. But it reminds me of juggling. And I had a professor in college that challenged a group full of student athletes to go home and learn how to juggle. He said it'd be a challenge because we probably hadn't learned a new skill in a while, even though we were, talented athletes, or so we thought. But he was really joking, just trying to make a point in a sports history class. But I decided, the competitor in me, to take him up on the challenge and actually learn how to do the 3-ball cascade juggling. So I went home and I learned how to juggle. But even in that situation with the juggling, the teachable moment was this. There are things that I used even in the process of learning to do that helped me to juggle things that I do as an athletic administrator. And just a few things that stick out in that process of learning to do it is, one, you want to toss the ball with intention and follow through. And with our tasks that we have to do as athletic administrators, we have to make sure that we do that as well. We need to know what we're working on, be intentional about what we're doing, and actually follow through on the task. No matter if you have multiple deadlines and multiple things to do, we all do. But if you don't follow through on the task at hand because you're worried about what's coming next, you're gonna lose focus on the thing that you should have already been working on, and that becomes an issue. Even though there's a lot to do, you're very capable, but you got to balance out how you're getting those things done. So you want to be intentional about what you're working on, and keep moving forward without thinking about what's coming next. You want to make sure you follow through on what you have to do right now. Another tip that I learned in learning to juggle was to focus on the high point. There's going to be one ball that's at the high point at a time. And if you focus on that one thing, you want to keep your focus there at the moment. There's going to be another one coming soon. But right now, we're focused on the high point. And as much as we might consider ourselves as ADs to be masters of multitasking, it's best to focus on one thing at a time. You don't want to have multiple things going and then nothing's getting your best attention or your best effort because you're trying to do so much at once. And one thing I've also noticed with competing priorities is that sometimes when you're having to multitask and got so many things going on, it could be a reflection of a poor planning, a poor time management. Maybe you haven't scheduled things well. And that falls on us to make sure that we do a good job of taking care of things and planning them out, so that we don't have to worry about doing so many things at the same time that we're not giving the immediate task our focus that it deserves. And then the last tip that stuck with me that I apply also in this competing priorities as an AD is just to block out time to work at it. It took time to learn to juggle. Now, I'm not going to the circus or anything, but I at least learned how to do the task by practicing a little, blocking out some time to just try it, just focus on doing it. And with us and the many things that we have to do in this profession, we have to schedule that time for the tasks that we've prioritized. If you don't put it on the schedule, something else is going to come and take its place. That might mean that you have to close the door and really focus on what you're doing. Even with the open door policy, at some point, hey, shut the door and focus on what you have to get accomplished. Do a little bit at a time if you need to, but make sure that you're actually getting things done so that you can block out the distractions and stick to the plan that you have. And you'll notice that new priorities will come in if you don't take the time to block out time to focus on what you're doing. So you want to make sure that you do that. When it does happen, though, remember the importance of, again, focusing on the high point and following through on the task at hand so you can get it accomplished and learn how to juggle all the competing priorities that we have as athletic administrators.
I love the juggling analogy. And, one of my favorite, just a throwaway line during my AD career, I heard it from somebody else. Obviously, I'm not that creative. How's it going, Jake? And it's typical AD day. And I would reply, well, right now I'm juggling flaming chainsaws.
Oh,
And so the visual is definitely there, but you're absolutely right. And you know this, you're still an athletic director. You've got your day planned. You're organized. You're prioritized. You've got that list of 5 things you're going to do before 10 a.m. And you come into your office and there's somebody waiting for you. The phone rings. There's that email from your principal. And all of a sudden, you are juggling that day. So, yeah, I think understanding that, hey, that's the job. It's the job.
yeah.
And as you said, not giving into it, getting that focus on that high point, whatever it is, you're going to be okay. Great, teachable moment today, because it's just so athletic director centric. Okay. Doctor, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, find out more about how to juggle or, how to focus on that high point, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Right. I'm active on social media at Dr. Troy Me. That's DrTroyme. Or email, same drtroyme@gmail.com. Be happy to be a resource in any way.
Dr. Mekia Troy, Creekside High School, Certified Master Athletic Administrator. Thanks so much for sharing with us today, and all the best with the continuing. I guess we're about wrapping up fall sports now, moving into winter sports, but all the best with that.
Thank you.
For our listeners, we do this every single week, and we also upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, we appreciate you listening. Come back next Thursday for another teachable moment, just about every day, for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. Wow, great episode. Always the best hanging out with Dr. Mekia Troy. Before we go, we do want to give a shout out to our sponsors. These are all companies I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Huddle. Turn your school into a huddle school. Go to huddle.com to get signed up. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention this podcast. We also want to thank Snap Mobile. If you're looking for a fundraiser, go to snapraise.com. That's snapraise.com. But there's a lot more. Go to Gipper.com. Start creating world-class marketing content for your school's social media channel. Again, mention this podcast. The folks at Gipper will give you a nice discount. We want to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive state association and student athlete eligibility platform for us. Go to homecampus.com to see all the things they can do for you. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule a demo of their products. You won't be disappointed. And Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. They're the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Thanks again for listening to this segment of Teachable Moment with Dr. Mekia Troy. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.